The Galactic Council chamber floated above a dying star. Its light was weak and red, slowly fading, just like the patience of the galaxy itself. The chamber was enormous, larger than most cities. Rings of seats rose high into the air, filled with thousands of alien species. Some were ancient and massive. Others were small, fragile, and hidden behind glowing shields. All of them were silent. At the very center of the chamber stood one small group, humans. They had no armor, no weapons, no guards, just plain clothing and calm faces. To the galaxy, they looked weak. A towering alien council leader rose from its seat. Its voice echoed through the chamber, cold and sharp. Humanity, it said, has been judged. Holograms appeared in the air. Wars, destroyed worlds, broken treaties. Human ships fighting even when outnumbered. The council continued. Humans are too violent. Another image appeared. Humans refusing surrender. Too unpredictable. A human ship jumping into a collapsing star system to save refugees. Too dangerous to exist freely among the stars. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Many species nodded in agreement. Some showed fear. Others showed anger. But the truth was simple. Galaxy did not fear human weapons. It feared human will. Humans fought when logic said they should not. They endured when others surrendered. They adapted when others broke. The council leader raised a limb. There will be no debate. The chamber darkened. The verdict appeared in massive, glowing letters. Humanity is banished beyond known space. A heavy silence followed. Human worlds were immediately cut off. Trade routes collapsed. Communication channels went dark. Star maps across the galaxy changed in real time. Human space vanished, as if it had never existed. Alien leaders watched the human delegation closely. They waited for the reaction they had seen countless times before. Anger, begging, threats. That was how every other species reacted when faced with extinction. But the humans did something different. They said nothing. No shouting. No demands. No tears. They stood still. Calm. One of the alien council members leaned forward, confused. "Do they not understand?" it whispered. A human representative slowly looked around the chamber. He saw fear hidden behind pride. He saw relief. He saw arrogance. He said nothing. Another alien laughed loudly, the sound sharp and cruel. "You accept this so easily?" it said. "You will not survive beyond the edge?" The human delegation did not respond. The council leader spoke again. "Exile begins now." Across human space, alarms sounded, but not of panic. Colony ships launched. Civilian fleets moved in perfect order. No chaos, no riots. Humanity had prepared. The galaxy watched in disbelief as thousands of human ships gathered at the edge of known space. They were old ships, many damaged, many patched together. They did not look like the fleet of a rising empire. They looked like survivors. Alien observers watched the final moment. The last human world went dark. Then the ships jumped. One by one, they vanished into the unknown. Not running, not fleeing. They turned their ships slowly, just long enough to look back, to remember. Inside the council chamber, an alien spoke with satisfaction. "They will die in the dark." Many believed it. Beyond the edge of known space, the stars were strange, unmapped, broken, cold. Human ships emerged into a region filled with dead stars and shattered planets. Ancient ruins drifted in silence, remnants of a war older than memory. This place was abandoned for a reason. Resources were scarce. Gravity was unstable. Radiation storms moved without warning. Many species had tried to settle here. None survived. Inside one colony ship, a human commander looked at the stars through a cracked window. "This is where they sent us," someone said quietly. The commander nodded. "This is where they made their mistake." Human ships spread out, scanning the region. Engineers worked non-stop. Families slept in shifts. Children listened to stories of Earth, Mars, and worlds they would never see again. But there was no panic, only resolve. The galaxy believed exile meant death. Humans believed exile meant freedom. Deep in the darkness, human scientists detected something strange. A signal, old, faint, still alive. Buried inside the core of a dead star was a structure. Not alien, not human. Ancient. The signal reacted to human presence. It woke up. Back in the Galactic Council chamber, the council celebrated quietly. Borders were safer. Trade would grow.
Ah!
The human problem was solved. No one noticed the small change in deep space. No one listened when sensors flickered. Because the galaxy had already made its decision. Humanity was erased, or so they believed. Far beyond their reach, the first human city was built inside an asteroid. The first shipyard came online. The first law was written not on paper but into memory. Never beg again. The dying star above the council chamber finally went dark. And in the silence that followed, the galaxy leapt, unaware that it had just planted a seed that would one day rule the stars. The place where humanity arrived had no name. It was not marked on any star map. No trade routes passed through it. No empire claimed it. That alone should have been a warning. Dead stars filled the sky like burned-out eyes. Shattered planets drifted slowly, broken long ago by weapons too powerful to imagine. Radiation storms moved without pattern, tearing through space like silent predators. This was where the galaxy sent things to die. Human ships spread out carefully. Their scanners struggled. Their maps meant nothing here. Gravity shifted without warning. The time signals lagged and twisted. Many thought this would be the end. Inside the colony ships, reality hit hard. Food was limited. Water had to be recycled perfectly. Every mistake mattered. Some ships failed in the first weeks. Engines burned out. Life support systems cracked. People were lost to the dark, but humanity did not fall apart. They adapted. Engineers stripped damaged ships and reused every piece. Scientists learned how radiation storms moved and adjusted shield patterns. Old mining drones were turned into construction tools. Nothing was wasted. Families lived together in tight spaces. Children learned early that survival was not a story, it was daily work. Schools taught math, engineering, and history side by side. History was important. They did not teach hatred of the galaxy. They taught memory. Remember why we are here, the elders said. Remember who decided this? Slowly, humanity began to settle. They hollowed out massive asteroids and turned them into cities. Thick layers of rock protected them from radiation and detection. Power came from unstable stars, dangerous, but strong. The first city was named Haven, not because it was safe, but because it had to be. Outside Haven, the darkness was endless. Scouts explored deeper into the exile zone, and he never returned. Some came back damaged, silent, shaken by what they had seen. Ancient battlefields. Wrecks of unknown ships larger than moons. Weapons frozen in space, still charged after thousands of years. This region had once been a war zone, a war so terrible that even the victors abandoned it. Human leaders debated. Should they move deeper? Should they hide forever? Should they try to contact the galaxy again? The answer was always the same. No, the galaxy had made its choice. So humanity would make its own. Years passed, human technology began to change. Without trade, humans were forced to innovate. Old rules were broken. Dangerous ideas were tested because there was no other option. Ships became modular, easy to repair, easy to upgrade. Weapons focused on precision, not size. Armor adapted to changing conditions in real time. Humanity stopped copying alien designs. They built their own. One day a scout ship detected the signal again. The same signal first noticed during exile. It came from the heart of a dead star. Closer scans showed a massive structure inside protected by layers of unknown energy. The star itself was artificial, held together by technology far older than humanity. A meeting was called. This was dangerous. This could destroy them. This could save them. A decision was made. They would approach. The expedition ship Pathfinder moved slowly toward the dead star. Every system was at maximum. Escape routes were prepared. As the ship crossed a certain distance, the signal changed. It responded. Human symbols appeared on the screen. Not words, but patterns. Adaptive patterns. Learning patterns. The structure was not just a machine. It was watching. Inside the star, massive doors opened, revealing a hollow core filled with light. The Pathfinder entered. What they found changed everything. It was an archive, not a weapon, not a ship, not a trap, a library. The archive contained knowledge from civilizations long gone, species that rose, fought, adapted, and fell. Their mistakes were recorded, their victories analyzed. The archive had one purpose: to find a species capable of surviving what was coming. When human scientists accessed the core, a message appeared, simple, clear. Adaptive species detected. Compatibility confirmed. The archive began to unlock. Blueprints appeared, energy systems far beyond current science. Shield designs that grew stronger under attack. Engines that bent space instead of fighting it. Warnings followed. The galaxy was unstable. Empires were growing careless. An ancient threat was returning. The archive ended with a line that made the room fall silent. Only one type of species ever survives collapse: those who adapt faster than fear. Human leaders understood. This was why the galaxy feared them, not because humans were violent, but because humans changed. The knowledge spread carefully. Not everyone was told everything. Power like this required discipline. Human cities expanded. Shipyards grew inside hollowed moons. Fleets were rebuilt, not large, but efficient. Every human ship carried both civilian and military functions. There would be no helpless populations again. Far away, inside the galaxy, alien sensors detected something strange. Faint energy spikes. Unusual movement beyond known space. The data was dismissed. Nothing survives there, they said. They were wrong. Deep in the exile zone, a human child looked up at the stars and asked a simple question: will they ever come for us? The answer was calm. If they do, the adults said, they will not find the same humans they exiled, and somewhere inside, a dead star. The ancient archive continued to awaken, waiting, watching, preparing humanity for what came next. The archive inside the dead star did not open all at once. It unlocked slowly, as if it was testing humanity. At first, it shared simple things: better energy storage, safer reactors, stronger materials. Human engineers studied every detail with care. Nothing was rushed, nothing was wasted. Then the archive began to ask questions, not with words, with problems. It presented situations: collapsing stars, failing ecosystems, hostile fleets. It waited to see how humans would respond. Humans did not choose the safest answers. They chose the most flexible ones. The archive reacted. More systems unlocked. Soon, human ships began to change in ways no alien design ever had. Hulls adapted to damage instead of resisting it. Shields shifted frequency mid-battle. Engines learned from every jump. Every human ship became a student. Every battle simulation became a lesson. Human commanders understood something important. Power alone was not the goal. Control was. Exile zone changed. Asteroids, once empty, now glowed with construction lights. Entire cities rotated slowly inside carved stone. Traffic lanes formed, hidden inside dust clouds and radiation storms. From the outside, it still looked dead. That was intentional. Human leaders made one rule clear: never be seen until it is too late. Children grew up learning engineering before history. History came second, not as anger, but as a reminder. You were not chased out, teachers said. You were tested. Beyond Haven, humanity expanded deeper into dangerous space. They explored ruins left by extinct civilizations. Some ruins still had power. Others had warnings carved into metal older than time. Most warnings were the same. Do not wake what sleeps. Humans studied those warnings carefully. Then they prepared anyway. The archive showed records of a force the galaxy had forgotten. Not an empire. Not a species. Cycle. Every few thousand years, something swept through the galaxy. It broke great powers first. It fed on order, stability, and predictability. Empires died fast. Adaptable species survived longer. Only a few ever made it through. Human scientists stopped calling it a theory. They called it a countdown. With this knowledge, humanity changed direction. Defense was no longer enough. They began to prepare for contact, not to conquer, to survive the collapse. Human fleets were reorganized, not into large armadas, but into flexible groups. Each group could act alone or combine instantly. No ship depended on another to function. Commanders were trained to think without orders. If leadership was lost, nothing stopped. This was the opposite of galactic doctrine. Meanwhile, inside known space, small things began to go wrong. Navigation errors appeared near old human borders. Long-range sensors picked up signals that vanished when scanned again. Trade convoys reported strange shadows at the edge of detection. The Galactic Council dismissed the reports. Old human debris, they said. Radiation ghosts. They had erased humanity from the maps. They believed the maps were truth. The first real mistake came from a minor alien power. A small empire, hungry for resources, looked toward the exile zone. Their scanners showed empty space. No registered borders. No warnings. A perfect target. They sent a scouting fleet. 6 ships, well-armed, well-trained. The fleet entered the exile zone and immediately reported strange readings. Sensors showed movement where nothing should exist. Communication lag increased. Then the reports stopped. No explosion, no distress call. The ships were simply gone. Weeks later, one ship returned. It was damaged, silent, drifting. When the Empire recovered it, the crew was alive but broken. They could not explain what happened. They only repeated one sentence. They watched us. The Empire reported the incident to the Council. The Council laughed. Fear spread anyway. In the exile zone, humans had already moved on. The encounter had been expected. Human analysts reviewed every second of the contact. The alien ships had never seen a human vessel. They had been surrounded, scanned, and disabled without knowing how. The decision was clear. Humanity could no longer remain a secret. But they would not announce themselves. They would be discovered. Human fleets began to move closer to the edge of known space. Not in large numbers, just enough to be noticed. They left traces, energy signatures, warp echoes. Broken probes returned with strange data. Inside the archive, another message unlocked. Contact phase approaching. Human leaders gathered. This is what they feared, one said. Not our weapons, another replied. Our return. The archive revealed its final truth. Humanity was not chosen randomly. Their biology, psychology, and history matched the profile perfectly. Conflict hardened them. Loss united them. Exiled freed them. So the archive had waited for someone like them, someone who could survive without becoming static. Somewhere deep in the exile zone, the first true human warship was completed. It did not look like a battleship. It looked simple. Clean lines, dark hull, no markings. Only one phrase carved inside the command deck, never be erased again. At the edge of known space, alien sensors finally detected a clear signal. Human, active, moving toward the galaxy. The Galactic Council received the report in silence. One old council member whispered the words no one wanted to hear. Exile did not kill them. In the darkness beyond the stars, human fleets aligned, not to invade, but to remind the galaxy of something it had forgotten. Humanity adapts. An adaptation always returns. For the first time since the exile, humanity allowed itself to be seen. Not everywhere, not loudly, just enough. At the edge of known space, long-range alien sensors picked up a fleet where no fleet should exist. The energy signatures were strange, stable, controlled, and powerful in ways no standard model could explain. The signal carried no threat message, no greeting, its presence. Inside the Galactic Council chamber, alarms echoed for the first time in centuries. Holograms filled the air, showing dark shapes moving in perfect formation. The designs were unfamiliar, but the source code of the signal was clear. Human. Some council members laughed nervously. They survived longer than expected, one said. They are still few. Another replied. But the oldest members did not laugh. They remembered the records. They remembered why exile was chosen instead of war. A minor alien empire, the same one that lost its scouts, decided to act first. Pride overruled caution. They sent a full-attack fleet. 30 warships, armed to crush rebel worlds, jumped toward the human signal. Their commanders expected resistance, maybe even surrender. They got neither, so the human fleet did not move. It waited. As the alien ships closed in, their targeting systems failed one by one. Weapons would not lock. Shields flickered without reason. The alien commander shouted orders. Then space changed. Human ships shifted positions without visible movement. They appeared where they should not be. Their weapons did not fire in blasts or beams. They fired in silence. Alien ships shut down mid-flight. Engines died. Support failed. Power vanished. One by one, the warships drifted. Intact. Alive. Captured without a single explosion. The battle was over in minutes. A single message was sent back to the galaxy. Do not cross this line, nothing else. The council froze. This was not conquest. This was control. Across the galaxy, fear spread faster than truth. Some empires mobilized fleets, others fortified borders. Few tried to open secret channels. Humanity ignored them all. Instead, the human fleets moved again. They did not attack worlds, did not seize territory. They dismantled military systems. Shipyards went dark overnight. Weapons platforms shut down mid-orbit. Command networks collapsed without damage. Every strike was clean. Every target was military. Civilian worlds were untouched. That frightened the galaxy more than destruction ever could. Human leaders gathered inside the largest human station ever built, hidden inside a shattered moon. It had no name. Names were for later. One commander spoke. The galaxy will not understand restraint. Another answered. They don't need to. Humanity declared itself something new. Not a republic. Not a kingdom. Not a federation. An empire. Not built on fear, built on memory. Every human ship now carried a shared symbol not visible on the hull, but coded into its signal. Never beg again. The archive inside the Dead Star unlocked its final phase. It warned of instability ahead. Galactic powers would panic. Wars would start. Alliances would break. The Empire prepared. Human fleets grew not in size, but in reach. Each ship could operate alone for years. Each carried factories, hospitals, and defense systems. There would be no weak points. Inside the Galactic Council chamber, debate turned to chaos. Some demanded war. Others demanded surrender. Many blamed each other. Single question echoed again and again. How did they become this strong? No one wanted the real answer. Because the answer was simple. They were left alone. The council finally sent a message. Demand. Humanity must explain its actions. The response came quickly. A single human ship entered the council system. It did not hide. It did not escort. It moved slowly, calmly, surrounded by dozens of council defense platforms that suddenly felt very small. A human representative appeared in the chamber via hologram, not armored, not armed, just standing. We were exiled, the human said. Accepted. The chamber was silent. We were sent beyond known space, the human continued. We survived. Some council members shifted uncomfortably. We did not return for revenge, the human said. We returned because the galaxy is breaking. Laughter broke out. The galaxy has ruled itself for thousands of years, an alien shouted. The human nodded. And it has failed many times. The human turned slightly. Exile forced us to adapt. While you stayed the same, the council leader tried to regain control. You have violated council law. The human's expression did not change. We were erased from your law. The signal ended. No threat, no declaration of war, just truth. Across the galaxy, systems began to fail, not because of humanity. Because the collapse the archive warned about had begun. Human fleets moved again, not to conquer, but to position, to prepare, to survive. In hidden shipyards, larger vessels were being built, not warships, command ships, symbols of permanence. The human empire did not announce its rule. The galaxy simply began to orbit around it. At the edge of known space, the first imperial banner was raised, not on a planet but in deep space, a marker, a warning, a promise. Humanity was no longer exiled. The galaxy had finally noticed. The galaxy did not fall all at once. It cracked. At first, the changes were small. Trade routes closed without warning. Old alliances stopped answering calls. Border defenses went on full alert, not against enemies, but against neighbors. Fear moved faster than fleets. Every empire remembered the same truth at the same time. They had exiled humanity instead of destroying it. Now humanity had returned stronger and calm. Inside the Galactic Council chamber, arguments turned into shouting. Leaders accused each other of weakness, of secret deals, of betrayal. Some demanded total war. Others demanded surrender. No one agreed. That was the problem. The human empire did not attack. It waited. Human fleets took positions near unstable regions, places where war was most likely to start. They did not fire first. They did not issue threats. They simply appeared, and war stopped. Two rival empires nearly destroyed each other over a resource system. Their fleets were hours from battle when human ships arrived between them. Human vessels did not raise weapons. They shut both fleets down. Engines froze. Weapons powered off. Communications died. Then a simple message was sent to both sides. This conflict ends here. No negotiation. No appeal. The fleets were released hours later, unharmed. The system was placed under temporary human control. The galaxy was shocked. This was not conquest. This was enforcement. Some empires resisted. One large military power believed humanity was bluffing. They launched a full strike against a human-controlled system, confident in their numbers. Humanity responded. Not with destruction, with removal. Their fleets bypassed defenses, disabled command ships, and shut down planetary weapons. Leaders were captured without a single city being harmed. The empire collapsed in days, not because it was weak, but because its power depended on control. Humanity took that control away. Across the galaxy, old systems failed. Governments built on fear fell apart when fear no longer worked. The archive's warning proved true. Predictable empires broke first. Inside human space, leaders debated quietly. Some argued they should rule openly. Others warned that power without purpose would turn them into what the galaxy feared. The decision was made. The human empire would not rule worlds. It would rule stability. Human fleets began a new operation. They called it the Quiet Net. Invisible systems spread through key regions of space. Energy dampeners, navigation anchors, and defense overrides built to stop wars before they began. No one was asked for permission. But no civilians were harmed. Some worlds welcomed it. Others hated it. None could stop it. The Galactic Council tried one last time. It invited humanity to return to sit as equals. The meeting took place in the same chamber where exile had been declared. Human delegates arrived. The chamber felt smaller now. The council leader spoke carefully. "The galaxy needs order," it said. The human representative nodded. "That is why we are here," the leader continued. "You have become what you once feared." The human did not react. "We became what exile required." Silence followed. "We will not replace you," the human said. "We will outgrow you." The council dissolved that day, not by force, but by irrelevance. Many council members fled to their home systems. Others disappeared into history. The chamber above the dying star was abandoned. Its lights went dark. Across the galaxy, humanity acted. They stabilized failing stars. They reopened safe trade routes. They removed warlords quietly. They did not demand loyalty. They demanded compliance with one rule: no extinction wars. Some species tested this rule. They did not test it twice. The human empire expanded, not in territory, but in influence. Their ships became symbols of safety in unstable regions. Children on alien worlds stopped running when human vessels arrived. That changed everything. Inside the exile zone, massive structures were being built. Permanent ones. The empire was no longer temporary. Deep inside the dead star, the archive sent one final message. Collapse contained. Cycle disrupted. Humanity had done something no one else ever had. They broke the pattern, but power always demanded a final test. At the edge of the galaxy, something ancient stirred, something the archive feared but could not stop, a presence older than empires, older than stars. Human sensors detected it first, a shadow moving between systems, consuming order, feeding on collapse. Human leaders gathered. "This is what the archive warned us about," one said. "And this is why we survived exile," another replied. Human fleets began to reposition, not defensively, but deliberately. The empire was about to face something no council, no alliance, no ancient power had ever defeated. The galaxy watched in fear. Not because humanity might fail, but because if humanity won, nothing would ever rule the stars the same way again. The ancient presence did not arrive like a fleet. It arrived like silence. Stars dimmed without warning. Trade lanes collapsed. Entire regions of space went cold. No explosions. No messages. Just absence. Human sensors tracked the movement first. Shadow did not move through space, it erased it. Order vanished wherever it passed. Systems that depended on balance failed instantly. This was the force the archive had warned about, the end of cycles. Empires that tried to fight it lost everything in hours. Their weapons did nothing. Their shields meant nothing. Predictable defenses were consumed without effort. The galaxy panicked. Calls flooded human command networks. Species that once voted for exile now begged for protection. Others fled blindly into deep space. Humanity did not panic. They prepared. Inside the largest human command structure ever built, tankered between three stars, leaders gathered, not politicians, not rulers, builders, engineers, strategists. The archive spoke one last time. This entity feeds on stability. Destroying it will not work. It must be denied. Humanity understood. This was not a war to win. It was a pattern to break. Human fleets spread across the galaxy, not forming a line, but a web. Each ship acted independently, changing position constantly. Routes shifted. Command passed fluidly. Nothing stayed still. The shadow advanced stand slowed. Could not feed properly. Where human systems operated, chaos and order existed together. Controlled unpredictability. Constant adaptation. The shadow hesitated. No force had ever made it hesitate. Humanity began Operation Starvale. Instead of fighting the entity, they starved it. Regions were destabilized safely, then rebuilt in new ways. Predictable systems were replaced with flexible ones. Empires were forced to decentralize or collapse harmlessly. The shadow weakened. Tried to strike at the human empire directly. It failed. Human cities were not fixed. Human command was not centralized. There was no single heart to destroy. Humanity was not an empire in structure. It was an empire in motion. At the center of the galaxy, the shadow finally stopped. It began to fade, not destroyed, but undone. Without collapse to feed on, it lost purpose. The cycle ended. For the first time in recorded history, the galaxy survived its own reset. Silence returned. Not the silence of fear. The silence of relief. Alien worlds watched human fleets remain in place, not as conquerors, but as guardians. No banners were raised. No declarations were made. The galaxy waited. Humanity made its final choice. They did not rule worlds. They ruled thresholds. Any civilization could grow. Any species could rise. But no one would be allowed to erase others to do it. The human empire became a constant, stabilizing force. A boundary no one crossed lightly. Centuries passed. Children across the galaxy learned a simple truth in school. Once, humanity was exiled. Once, they were feared. Once, they were ignored. Now, they were trusted. The old galactic council chamber still floated above the dead star, abandoned and dark. No one met there anymore. It was a monument, a reminder of a mistake. Far from any world, a human explorer ship drifted slowly. On its hull were no markings, only a simple signal that every species recognized. Safe passage. Inside the ship, a young human officer looked at the stars. "Do you think they remember why we rule?" they asked. The captain nodded. They remember what happened when no one did. The galaxy no longer spoke of exile. It spoke of the turning point. The moment humanity stopped being a problem and became the answer. And in the quiet between stars, a truth echoed forever. Humanity was banished by the galaxy. So they built an empire, out of fear, out of fire. But of stars that would never go dark again.